And welcome back. In this video tutorial, we're going to show you a little bit about how to access your SmartBoard Designer Studio. This is for the brand new SmartBoard that allows you to design your own screens anytime you want. The first step you're going to do is log into your web portal. And once you're within the administrative web portal for your department, you'll scroll down to the lower part of the screen and look for the tab called Stations. This lists all the stations in your department that have SmartBoards. Once you've gotten the station list, you can select any one of those stations that you would like to do design work on. In this particular case, I'm going to select Mooresville Station 3. And I bring up that station's configurations for SmartBoard. Now you'll notice up at the top, there's a new tab for View SmartBoard and another one for Edit SmartBoard Design. If all you'd like to do is look at the SmartBoard for that particular station, you can simply choose View SmartBoard, and the SmartBoard will come up and begin operation just as if it were on the TV in your station. But if you're ready to do design work on it, you're going to hit the tab called Edit SmartBoard Design. That brings up your Designer Studio, and we're going to explain the components of the Design Studio to you now. Most of your menus are in the upper portion of the screen and the left-hand side of the screen. We're going to start with the menus in the very extreme upper left corner. In those menu items, you have the ability to log out of your SmartBoard completely. You can also undo or redo any last action, meaning the very last action you took, you can undo it or you can redo it. You can also completely reload the previous configuration for that SmartBoard. So if you're in the middle of a design and you get frustrated because you've made too many mistakes, for instance, and you just want to revert back to what you had previously, you can use the reload config, and as long as you haven't published a new configuration, your board will return to the previous configuration that it was using before you started. Last but not least, of course, you have the Save button or the Publish button, and that's when you're completely done with your design work and are ready to save your design and have it become the actual operation of your SmartBoard. That's the button you'd push there. The final button is right up here called Alert Mode, and that's what allows you to decide whether you're designing for your idle mode screens or whether you're designing for your alert mode screens. Right now, we're looking at idle mode screens, but if I click this button, then the screen will change to the alert mode screens, and that's where I would work on designing my alert modes. Now, along the upper portion of the screen is where you decide which exact screen you want to work on at any given time. You can also decide to work on a template. Now, templates will be explained in a completely different video tutorial, so you can learn more about use of templates in that video. But for now, you can see that we have currently 3 screens designed for this particular board. And I can click through those screens and do design work on each screen separately as long as I have that screen highlighted. So whichever screen you have highlighted at the top is the screen you're going to be working on. If you want to add a screen, here's the button for that. You can add a 4th screen or a 5th screen. Remember, you can have as many screens as you want. You can also create new templates by hitting the Add Template button. If I hit an Add Template button, it's going to ask me to name that template, and then I'll be able to use it and design with it. And again, we'll talk about templates in another video tutorial. On the left-hand side of the screen are the main screen settings. When you don't have any widget selected on the screen, your main screen settings will appear. You have a button to add a widget. We'll talk about adding and using widgets in a different video tutorial, so make sure you watch that one. You can duplicate a screen, meaning if you have two screens or you have a screen that you want to use twice and maybe just alter it slightly from one screen to another, rather than redesigning that screen from scratch, you can simply duplicate that screen and then make the changes that you want to the second screen. So you have a duplicate screen button. You have a remove screen button, which allows you to completely remove a screen that you no longer need. Maybe you had a temporary message or something along that line, and you no longer want to have that display on the SmartBoards. You can simply hit remove screen and take that screen out completely. You also have a duration selector that allows you to select how long each and every screen displays as your SmartBoard cycles through its various pages. So you can set the duration at increments of a half a second, and you can do that on a per screen basis. Now remember, this will apply to whichever screen you have. So you can see up here that I've changed that from 5 seconds to 7.5 seconds. And up at the top, it's showing the duration of my screen at 7.5 seconds for screen number 5, even though the other screens are still set for 5 seconds. You also have the designer screen aspect ratio. Most of the time, this will default to 16:9, which is normal for a widescreen television monitor. But if you were designing screens for, say, a computer monitor, you can set that to 4:3. There are also other ratios, some of these European, but you can use different ratios to design. The most common one you'll use, however, is going to be the 16:9 ratio, because that's designed for most current television screens. Now there's one other button you should learn about, and that's all the way back in the administrative web portal. Next to the button for View SmartBoard and Edit SmartBoard Design is one additional button called Sync SmartBoard Designs. It's important to know what that button's for so that you don't use it inadvertently. If you're designing for all of the SmartBoards in your entire department, meaning that you want all of the SmartBoards to look the exact same, you can design those screens on any station SmartBoard you want, and when the design is complete and you're happy with what you've got, you can use the button called Sync SmartBoard Designs. What that will do is synchronize that particular SmartBoard design across all the other stations in your department. Now be very careful how you use this button, because if you're not ready for that design to become the design that's used on all of the SmartBoards in your station, you want to avoid pushing this button. But if you want all the station SmartBoards to be identical, go ahead and do your design on any given station, and then when it's complete and published, use the button called Sync SmartBoard Designs, and that configuration will be copied over to all the other stations in your department. This concludes this video tutorial. Take a look at our next video tutorial about the use of widgets, and you'll learn more about your SmartBoards.